deep fried, I'd eat it. I love fry food. I love fair food. Now, as much as I like the food, like the funnel cakes and the deep fried corn and all that, oh my God. The social experience was always great at the fair. We just hung out and basically went home, but I always looked forward to it. But there was one thing, Chester, about the fair I couldn't take. And that was them dadgum teacup rides. First of all, I was always way too big to get in them, but it didn't stop me. And I would get in them, and I would grab that wheel and just go to spinning. Knowing, as sure as I got off, I was going to be sick as I'd ever been sick before, but still, spin, 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 spin. And not only was I spinning, but the whole ride spun you. So when you got off that ride, you were sick generally. But I would next year roll around. I think I'm older now. This ain't going to bother me as bad. Same identical thing. Then I started wondering why it was that thing would spin so fast and I would not get thrown out. Now, I'm not, as you probably have figured out by now, wasn't the greatest student in school. Any of them I went to. So maybe I slept through this part of it and things that y'all know. But there's a reason why that teacup didn't sling me across the parking lot. 2 reasons. Number one, what they refer to, I hear, as gravity. It kind of keeps you in the seat. But the second thing was what was really interesting to me. And that was what they called an axis. An axis was that stabilizer to the spin. So as fast as that thing was going, there was an angle that they could set that axis on that teacup that would keep me from being slung out. Not only did my individual little teacup that was carrying my big fat butt around in it, it had its own axis so that the tilt would not throw me out. So did the entire ride. Because axis, that central point of alignment, kept me safe when speed got out of control. Now, this week I started seeing that axis is real important to survival. The earth that we live on today, I ask myself the same question. Again, poor student, I'm admitting it. So all you teachers, pipe down. I know I slept a lot in school. I did not realize that the earth is spinning right now at over 1,000 miles per hour. And the 2 things that kept me from getting slung out of that teacup are the same things that keep me standing today in this earth as we know it, not blowing apart. There's an axis today on this earth that is tilted at they call it an axial tilt, that is perfectly tilted at 23.5 degrees that somehow stabilizes this spin that we're in. The gravitational side of it is the moon. Did not know this. I thought the moon came up so we could sleep. But the moon, Mike, has this gravitational pull to it. It pulls the earth so that 23.5 degree axial tilt is not affected. If by chance that axis shifts any degree, right, left, or however it moves, let's say the moon decided I'm going to take 3 days off. We wouldn't last 3 seconds. Because that gravitational pull, that effort that is drawing and keeping that axial tilt in line is the only thing that allows us to survive. You know what? Our lives move fast. We have to make fast decisions. We have to make fast decisions on relationships. Things move very rapidly. And if your axial tilt, your alignment is not proper, what you will see is the evidence of chaos. The only reason I wasn't slung out of the teacup and the only reason that we're standing, sitting, whatever you're doing in this building today is because of two things work to our advantage. That gravitational pull, that influence from outside that stabilizes the speed, and gravity. And so I'm going to answer a question some of you don't even know how to ask yourself yet this morning. That is this: why is there so much chaos in my life? If there's evidence of chaos, that center line may be off. When the axis is properly aligned, that center point of your life, the axis is what everything else rotates off of in your life. And if you're not properly aligned, you should not have one day longer to wonder why your life is in chaos. Reggie? Not all chaos is my fault. You're right. I know that. Sometimes people put chaos on us by their sheer presence in our life. They just show up. I got friends like that in my life. They get adrenaline rush off of causing problems. I'm not kidding you. If they don't have something that's going on that they're worried about or they're concerned about or they're not in some conflict in relationship, they're dissatisfied with life. Not me. I cannot stand it. So what I fight for every day, not successful all the time, but what I fight for all my life every day is how do I stay at peace and to trouble and to calm the storm in your life, you're probably going to need an alignment. And I believe there's three things that go into proper alignment. Number one is I think alignment when we're centered, when that center line is properly tilted, here's what you'll see. There will be a combination of alignment between three things. Number one, your beliefs. Number two, your behavior. And number three, your boundaries. And some of us just don't have alignment because we're not committed to those three projects in life. Can I tell you this? Some of us may possibly not get our well done simply because we've refused to align, commit, and make those priorities for our living. Yeah, we just think we can behave however we want. His grace is sufficient. I kind of believe that, but I'm going to dabble my toe in it. That way, if I feel unsafe, I can pull it out and I ain't got much to worry about. So we even are challenged sometimes in our own beliefs. And most of us have lived our life as we want, refusing to even consider boundaries. We feel like we're being controlled or we feel what we're told to do or we can't. Listen, I'm kind of like that by nature. You pin me in, I'm going to come out stronger because I'm going to fight. And I believe Yahweh spoke to me this week and said, therein lies the problem and the find of chaos so easily for you. You don't even want to hear at times what I got to say about your life, much less what she tells me. Anybody who has a seat of authority or even a recommendation or an idea, I always give the stink eye to before I see, believe, or even practice anything they say. It's just natural for me. I'm not proud of that. I'm just telling you it's a fact. But as a result, Mike, I'm easily shifted out of alignment. And as a result, things get clunky. You ever driven a car that them wheels just start, and you go like, yeah, it'll pass. No, it won't. You better go get them dadgum, that front end aligned or you're going to tear your tires up and be walking. That's the same way it is with us. Without proper alignment, if you're not committed and convicted about your own beliefs, your own boundaries, and the way you behave, you're on your own. So what I've realized this week is that for me to stay grounded and stable in the midst of this fast-paced world, I got to make for sure my alignment is properly tilted. And the thing that I guard is how I think, my beliefs, how I feel and what behavior that drives me toward, and being willing to give up control for the boundaries and the lane that I've been placed in by Yahweh. So this morning, some of you may just had a little answer to your question that you weren't even asking yourself yet, and is it, why is so much of my life in chaos? Here's what I know. I think when we get to that proper axial tilt, it not only keeps the earth livable, but it also guides our lives well. This is not as complicated as we're making it. When we can't get sure and steadfast in what we believe, it affects the way we behave, and it causes us to refuse to live in boundaries. It's pretty simple. If the convictions of your life do not affect the boundaries and the behaviors that you practice, you're out of line. And I'm not going to say it's okay, but you just need to stop. You need to pull your head out of the sand this morning and start realizing, like I have, that some of the stuff I'm seeing that Yahweh will take out of my life are my responsibilities, not His. What do I mean by that? What I mean by, we sometimes ask Him to do stuff He's asking us to do for ourselves. No. I've told you this is the way I want you to behave, Reggie. Now you've chosen not to behave that way. Why are you coming to me to ask to deliver you from something you really like? Because clearly we don't chase things we don't have appetite for. If the appetite is gone, what's the point of chasing anything? You chase stuff because you want it. I promise you this. One of the first times I ever spoke at this church was in the parking lot. I mean, not parking lot, the plaza. I walked in there, and I hadn't seen Joel, I don't think, for years. And Charlotte and Janice, I'm close. I hope you're not watching, because you mean like this one. They attacked me up. But I walked in and I remember saying this, and it was a lie when I said it. Forgive me. I said, oh, I remember there's Charlotte. And your mama was in there. I remember that. Your mama was sitting in there, and I said, oh, I remember Miss Snellgrove making me that wonderful rutabaga pie. I hate the gut of rutabagas. Never eat it, never will have it, never want it. There's just something, so you never have to worry about, if you've got rutabagas in your house, me coming somewhere in the dark and stealing them. Take me off that list. If you got missing rutabagas, it ain't me. I don't chase stuff I don't have an appetite for. So see, what happens is we start blaming things on other people and other things, when the fact of the matter is we've been led away by our own lusts, our own appetites, our own desires. So you and I praying to Yahweh, Yahweh deliver me. He's like, just step away from the buffet. I've just helped you. Stop eating there. No, but your grace is sufficient. I trust you to take care of me. Guys, this morning, I'm going to tell you quickly that alignment is critical to your survival. You've got to make for sure your beliefs are lived in your behavior, seen in your behavior, and then realizing that it's okay to have boundaries if that boundary lane leads us to our well done. So some of you even may be wondering, my God, am I even going to qualify? I think it's a great question. One we should ask ourselves every day. Based upon my beliefs, based upon my behavior, based upon my boundary, can I count on, should Yahshua return today, to be a part of the well done group? We ain't worried about that. There's other groups we're trying to get involved with and accepted by and validated by, other than that one, as a priority. I posted something yesterday on Facebook, and I think it was something like this. It said this: if people stopped applauding you, would you still continue to contribute? Oh, Johnny, that was such a good drive. Which I've never heard. Just kidding. Lynn says it all the time. I'm saying there is a reality to this that I think it's simple that we're overlooking, and that is, look, what you say you believe, it should show up in your behavior, and your behavior should drive you to stay in the confines of what it looks like to qualify when that day comes. How much more complicated is this? So what I want to leave you with this morning is this. I think that due to the speed of life is moving rapidly. We have to have an influence, a stabilizer, something, an axis that centers our life so that this speed around us does not crush us in our efforts. So to this morning, I guess I'm going to ask you a pretty simple question, and that is, what you holding on to? What is it you're grounded in? What is the thing you can hold on to and not get slung out of the teacup? What is it that keeps us steady in the midst of this 1,000-mile-an-hour spin? It's that stabilizer. It's the moon that comes into our life and holds that gravitational pull in the right exact direction. Now, my question to you might be this as well. Based upon the life you're living, who are the influences that are really dictating the tilt of your life? All right? Think about that. I was telling some of the guys earlier, one of my favorite preachers of all time was my college football coach. And he had these tics about him. Like he just did weird, like he just had face motions and like he would just do kind of crazy stuff. Then if you're listening, which there's not a chance. But if you were, I love you. And I tried to be like you too much. That was the problem. And so I watched Denny. I traveled with him, and he would do some things. And then I found myself a little bit later doing the same things. I created tics for me. I just made them up. Because I thought to be successful behind the pulpit, you needed a few tics. And we model ourselves out of people, and I think sometimes with good intentions. But the reality of it is, you better lean into you and understand that who you are is all you got, and all you got is to live a life that what you say out of your mouth is represented in the life you lead, and it shows up in the boundaries you're willing to live in. Right? So, strengthen the core. What is that you hold on to? I'm not going to answer it for you. I'm going to tell you what I hold on to, what I'm attempting to hold on to, because eventually, if you don't have something true and strong and dependable to hold on to, you're going to get slung out of the teacup. And you're going to land on your head, and it's going to hurt, and then what you're going to do? You're going to start blaming everybody but your own daggum self. The speed of life will crush you without a stabilizer to hold on to. What's your moon this morning? What is that gravitational pull that you lean into that's your safety and your structure and your strength and your stabilizer when the world gets crazy? So I'm going to give you two tools as I close. Two tools today that will help stabilize this axial tilt I talk about. That alignment, if you will. Listen, can I tell you this before I go there? In your home, if that tilt is off, it's going to wreck everybody in it. I think that some people have challenges at home or in relationships that they can't get a reason and answer for, and it's because the people that are in your household are not aligned to the same principles, the same beliefs, the same behaviors and boundaries. And what it'll do is if you got some little minion outside of this alignment that's called, that pull could wreck your whole family. So I'm going to give you 2 tools that I want you to think about that I think can help you maintain stability in terms of that proper tilt and lean and alignment. 2 things. The first one is this. You have to develop an ability to detect. Listen, not what's obvious, that's easy. So that's when I read that scripture again this week, I thought that's the easy part. I mean, I know the big stuff. If I got to kill somebody, there's these big sins these weights that we realize, and they're easy to that ain't what's easy. What we've become comfortable with is massaging and manipulating the hidden things of our life. And my friends, that's what's potentially going to cause us not to qualify. It's not the obvious. I think we're pretty good at the obvious stuff because we don't want anybody to see. It's that stuff you've been holding like I did for 40 years. You just tote it around. And it inhibits your ability to stay in a right place with your beliefs, your behaviors, and your boundaries. This baggage. We just don't want to drop it off. We've got comfortable with it. Some of the resentment, maybe the guilt, some of the fear, some of the mistrust, all these things that I think we do a good job hiding are what's going to come back and appear one day and cause chaos like you cannot even understand. You know why? Here's why. 40 years ago, I started feeling something about people. I could blame it on whatever I wanted to. But the reality was, it was a shield for me, dude. Like, it was a shield for me. People start pressing on me. People start making me feel uncomfortable. Dude, I got defensive quick, and I'd fight and not even ask. That's the way I was built. And I can point it back to a specific time where Reggie, the little boy, and even the young teenager I wouldn't call me kind, but I wasn't mean. And that moment happened, and bro, I got mean quick. Mean quick. And the reason for it is easy people go, oh, you got to drop that and leave it alone. It protected me, I felt. I wasn't going, that ain't happening again. Try me. Try me. And so it was that baggage that nobody really knew about, but boy, did I depend on it. See, some of y'all have toted something with you for years that you think is protecting you. It's disqualifying you. And as I say that, some of you are already thinking about that baggage and the weight of it. Remember, that's what's easy besetting us. It's like something that heavy and full of weight is going to break your back one day. Drop it. This week, I had 2 phone calls that really brought this point home to me. I've been dealing with, in business, I've been dealing with a business that's been, and I know they're not watching either. The business they've been partners for 7 years, and they built a $15 to $20 million business. Good business. They hate each other like 2 people I've never seen in my life. Literally. So I get the call, Reggie, come in, see what you can do. I'm like, okay. I went in full guns ablaze, and I'm like, you got to do this. I do. I'm telling you, you may not agree with this, but I think I have ability to detect things that are not seen probably more often than most. I can feel it. I can feel, and still nobody's saying anything. See, you do the same thing, you just do it with yourself. You know what's happening, but you just push it aside. I've dealt with this for this long. I'm not going. If people knew this, they might judge me differently. I might, whatever the situations are. So I went in. I'm like, you guys just don't blah 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 blah. And they're like, no, we don't. What you gonna do about it? And after about 8 weeks, I'm like, nothing. I can't do anything. And here's why: they were too far gone. Your ability to detect early increases survival. See, we know that in healthcare, don't we? Get it early and you can survive at a higher level. It's the same way in your walk in life. You better catch something before it's too late. And I told them, I'm like, y'all need hospice. Y'all don't need me. I told them that. You are too far gone. And it was that bitter pill they swallowed, realizing it was true. And at the end of the day, my prayer for you is that baggage, that weight, ain't got you too far gone. Here's the good news. You're not. But you're going to have to detect it and start working on it and start dealing with it. They were oblivious until it was too late. The second thing I would tell you is this. The other story I had was a good friend of mine. We've known each other for 3 or 4 years. He calls me, and it's kind of he ain't watching either. I ain't still going to call his name. There's some family conflict, and they've been having it for years. I've known this guy for 3.5 or 4 years. His family problems didn't start last week. They started 50 years ago, literally. And he didn't even know his wife then. How's that got to do with anything, Reggie? Because he took that baggage of a child and brought it into his marriage. Won't let it go. Most mild, meek guy you'd ever meet in your life. He calls me the other day in a panic. He said, something happened to me. What? He said, she said something to me, and Reggie, I went into a fit of rage that I didn't even know existed in me. Just came out. He said it lasted 2 minutes, and he said I was almost in a state of blackout. Like I didn't even know what, when I came out of this stupor, I knew something was wrong, but she really had to tell me he said, what the heck is that? I'm like, everything planted one day will show up. So you've been doing this. It ain't going nowhere. It's just right here. It's fine. I dealt with it for 40 years. And what you don't realize is in the dark is where growth happens for those things that destroy us. Velocity is building. Pow, 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 pow. He's like, why did this happen? I said, dude, there's no pressure release. You've not done anything to drop this baggage. And as a result, the baggage one day says, oh, okay, how about this? Bam. You see, you're toying with a ticking time bomb. People call me all the time. Reggie, this explosion happened and I don't even understand where it came from. I'm like, I do. It's because you've refused to deal with it when it wasn't as painful and cascading as it now is with it showing up and creating more problem than you anticipated if you dealt with it earlier. Are you too far gone? Are you at a place where you're holding something and even as I speak, it provokes you to realize, dear God, I don't want what's coming. I'm telling you, it's coming. It ain't a matter of if, it is when. So whether it's a sin or a weight or whatever it is that you've done a real good job of just hiding and covering, it's going to show up. Why you say this, Reggie? Because it did with me. You can't keep stuff that is planted deep in you from never bringing forth the harvest. It just does. And are you prepared for the fallout? Yes, I am. Nobody will ever know about this. Oh, yeah. And so I'm encouraging you today to be mindful about detection of those hidden things. I'm not even talking to you about the big stuff. I ain't talking about that. That's not what's going to set you back. What's going to set you back is this weight you've been toting because you refuse to come to terms, be vulnerable, honest, and walk this thing out in your life. And to this point, you've done a pretty good job. But I'm telling you today, your days are numbered. Reggie, this is kind of negative. Man, it's just the truth. You keep toying with something and think, it's good and hidden. Like nobody, I'm careful. Nobody will ever see this. And we spend energy doing our best to hide this when we could just be working through this, go get help from people who can help us, and hopefully get by it. But we've dulled our senses. We've become casual to this stuff. We're just like, just the way I am. Hey, man, Reggie, it's been with me this long. I ain't gonna, okay. Don't say you haven't been warned. These hidden places of your life are one day going to be revealed. And what I'm hoping for is that revealing doesn't destroy people around you that you've really been trying to protect. It almost did me with her and my son. We just toy around with these not just sins, but weights that we carry, right? Like, ugh. Dude, if my golf bag gets bagged, I'm dropping it. I'm finding a lighter one. I can't take weight. This useless weight that we drag around, and everything that we do, we have to think about, okay, how do I position myself with this so that nobody can see this? Energy depletion that's not necessary. Yeah, I believe that collaboration is our future, just like Johnny was saying earlier. But I don't want to collaborate with you if you got stuff you're trying to blend in me that could corrupt me with you. I ain't interested. You don't need to be interested in me till I'm willing to clean up my own house. You see, because what we do together produces something we can't by ourselves. It's that co-creative responsibility and opportunity we have to create things that Lynn couldn't get by herself, nor I could mine, but together we could produce something that may be impactful to the world. But my God, I don't want Lynn collaborating with me. And here's what I just thought about. Lynn don't want to collaborate with me. He thinks he might want to collaborate with me, but if he knew me, he wouldn't want it. Because there's things in me that if we co-create, some of what I am is going to show up in what we produce. When Connie and I were dating, and I finally said yes. We talked about all the big stuff that people getting married talk about. Money, and where we're going to live, and where we're going to go to church, and where we're going to blah, 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 blah. And we got the kids. And both of us thought the same thing. We want children. Now, we've been blessed to have the son that we have, right? But here's what I know. As much as I prayed, as much as I got counsel, I got therapy, I wanted it real bad. I said all these magic potions in my own. Jordan wasn't showing up without Connie. No. I could want it, I could hope it, I could pray it. But without her, nope. You see, that's the power of collaboration and co-creation. It allows us to do things together that we can't do apart. And we call him Jordan. Some of y'all are trying to get things done looking for a something, and actually what you need is someone. That influence to stabilize you. Reading another book probably ain't going to help you. Going to another seminar probably is not going to be the answer that you're looking for. Finding some guru who can preach some new doctrine into you is not the answer. What the answer is to finding out how I am based upon the Word of God, if that's your stabilizer, and on your relationship with Yah. If that's your stabilizer, you got to press into that, and all else becomes unimportant. And so when I bring myself to this body, I try to bring myself as clean and as pure as I possibly can because I owe it to you. I don't care if you clap or not. It is my obligation and responsibility. I don't need you to validate what I'm saying. What I know is to be true is that we can do things together, but we need to purge and purify ourselves so that this collaboration becomes something that's impactful for the kingdom, not this world. Yeah. And how do we do that? We find that alignment. We believe the same way. We behave the same way. We live in the same boundaries, and we don't scream and moan and complain about it all the time. Now, I don't know how you deal with it. All this man be. I was raised in a different world. And the world I was raised in is get yourself up, put some dirt on it, and go on. I ain't got time for all that. Like, I watch Cody and the kids and all their ball playing and all that, and I think to myself, oh, I love this. I love watching kids perform. You know what I hate to watch? Their parents at the games. My boy ain't playing enough. You know what my coach told my dad one time? There's a reason. My dad's like, what's the reason? He ain't that good. And you know what my dad did? Oh, we gonna change that. You used to hard coach kids, didn't you? Was he hard? No, bull. He was hard. I guarantee he was hard. Saw gifts, saw talent, saw ability, and was willing to be coached. So this morning, our softness needs to go. We got to realize that the word of life is being spoken to us, and sometimes it's dadgum painful. Daddy, don't talk to me like that. Now I see them popping off at umpires. Like just, we got up there, and if I was called out, I went and sat down. But we've become so soft, any level of intrusion into our hidden stuff, we pitch a fit. You big babies. Say, I ain't going to, this will probably be the last time I do this for a while, so I'm going to take advantage of it. This stuff you're carrying around that nobody sees, nobody speaks of, and it's unresolved, it's going to tear you up. Detect it. And if it ain't too late, do something about it. Right? So the last thing I want to share with you is this. I like this. Me likey. So I told you the first thing is detection, and then the second thing is protection. You've got to detect what's hidden and protect what matters. See, I think we're careless with what we protect. We're just kind of casual with it. Just, if I show up, I show up. If I don't, big deal. We've casualed ourselves out of commitment. Yeah, don't pin me in. Danny, I just want to practice once a week. Well, we practice 5 days a week. No, I'm good with one. Well, you can't be on this team. We practice 5 nights a week. I'm going to tell my dad, have at it. That'll keep your dad out of the gym 4 nights a week, and I'm really happy about that. You see what I mean? I'm coaching you today. I'm telling you to lean into even the things that hurt you. You know what's hurting? Probably this stuff that's hidden. You disguising it, and then he gets up here and starts poking on you, and you get to whining. He's trying to save your dadgum life. It hurts. Right. Surgery does that. He's working your fannies over, and all you want to do is just think, why in the world you got to be so mean about it? Because we've become so soft, we're deaf. Deaf. And so what we do is rather than listen and apply, we just shut our ears. It keeps us from having to deal with this. I don't know what your this is, but if this isn't taken care of, you don't detect it and you start dealing with it and you come from it, that stuff you mouth to everybody about protecting is so important to you, it'll lose interest too. Some of you are at that point where you just kind of lost interest in not just this, you've lost interest in protecting what matters most to you. You mouth it, you don't show it. I'm guilty as anybody in this room. But now I see. And me having that alignment in my life and that influence in my life and cutting out those who don't have good influence on me. Do you hear what I said? Some of y'all are just a little bit nervous to cut off people that have been in your life a long time, right? And they have led you, helped you walk down the road that you're in that's created this. But we want to hold on. Hold on. This is probably a scripture I use and I misuse constantly. I'll do it this morning if it's all right with you, Joel. I may have just made this up, but it really sounded nice when I said it the first time, so I'm going to say it again. All of us know the story of Lazarus. Lazarus comes out of the tomb, right? We're like, hey, here's the interesting part of that. When Yahshua looked at him, and now this man's walking around like he's up and at it, and Yahshua says what? Anybody remember? Loose him and let him go. Wait a minute, you just raised him from the dead. What I got to do? Well, he has identifiers still on him of somebody he isn't anymore. What do you mean? He had burial clothes on, a living guy. You see, there's still some identifiers in us that just don't belong here anymore. Bye. But our behavior shows us clearly carrying luggage that we said we've been set free from, but actually haven't. Drop it. Loose yourself and move into the identity now that you've established. Oh, I know Yahweh. I know Yahshua. I know you're not dying going to hell. Okay. How does that show up in the way you behave? Or me. Forget you, me. Okay. What is all this stuff I know? we know you don't. Ha. That's not the point of this. Protect what matters. So here's my final question for you. How do you know when your axial tilt is correct? When you're plumb lined, when you're aligned, when you're at the right tilt. Let me tell you the answer. You'll lack chaos. I love when he says this. If you ain't happy, you're doing something wrong. That's alignment. When you get into that plumb line, when you get that perfect axial tilt in your life where everything's aligned, and how do you know if they're aligned, Reggie? Well, my beliefs match my behaviors. My behaviors lead me into the right places, and I don't go where I don't belong. Yeah. So this morning, as I close, I would say this. And when I say I close, I am going to close. I think. I've said it 5 times. I've learned from a good one. The apple don't fall far from the tree. So here's what I'm telling you. If you have chaos in your life, I'm going to ask you before the day ends to really check what's out of line and go to work. Well, I believe this gospel. Well, if you do, we should see it. Well, I believe it. I most of the time behave like it. But don't fence me in. There's a lot of truth out there, Johnny. No, really? Yeah, I don't want to get too dramatic about this. Okay. And the last thing I would tell you is this. I'm asking you to seriously pray about finding somebody that can walk with you till this is gone. Because this, I'm giving you early warning, is going to show up. And there's some of you in this room today that have hidden things so long, the velocity and the speed has magnified so greatly, when it hits shore, it's going to destroy everything in its path. Is it that important to you? Maybe it's just you don't want to have had dealt with it before. I get it. I mean, there's things that I hid because I thought, I've got no way to explain my way out of this. And every time I said that to myself, the spin rate grew faster. And, you know, here in Florida, as I have found, hurricanes don't just happen. You wake up one morning and here they are. Woo! You buckle down? No. They start watching these things 4 years out. It seems like, oh, this path is going here. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, well, Connie, get the generator. We got to, and all of a sudden, one slight deviation and nothing. Or one slight deviation and I'm now in the path. Listen, what's about to hit shore for you is not something that's going to catch you by surprise. When it hits, you're going to know exactly where it came from. The path is already established. The question is, how are you going to avoid it? And the only way that is going to happen is if you choose to refuse to let the unresolved, unspoken, unseen areas of your life inhibit you another day. Because if you let them do that, you just think things are bad now. This hurricane is going to tear up not just your house, it's going to rip up the foundation. There'll be nothing left. Nothing. Well, Reggie, I didn't come here for this doom and gloom this morning. I'm giving you a path out. I'm telling you it ain't too late. But as long as you just keep playing with it, I wanted you to know this morning that it ain't going away because you've left it alone. It's growing. It's building. And finally, you need to take the influence of this man in this house, and you need to let it stabilize you in the spin of your life. This thing's going fast. Some of you are in a place to where you just can't keep up, and you're just like, it's exhausting and it's difficult and it's challenging. That's why the stabilizer has been introduced into your life. I see him talking a lot about, you ain't recognized yet why I have crossed your path. Oh, I have. I have. And if you have, you better bolster it, strengthen it, commit to it, deal with this stuff, and our chances of qualifying increase exponentially. You in? I'm in. Let's pray. Yahweh, it's not easy to touch the touchy things in our life. Like, that hurts. Some of that stuff just hurts.